Hi. This sheet is what we saw earlier in the previous video. That is the daily dashboard. So this sheet shows uh, the previous day's snapshot. So it'll have the outstanding on that particular day, the sales value, what is your net profit, what is your stock levels, etc. So this sheet is populated from data from the other sheets that we are going to see. So I'll take you through the different sheets that this Excel sheet holds, and I'll give you a brief description. I'm not going to go into the details of what you have to enter. That will be a separate video. So this is just a brief description. So the first sheet is the products. So in the product sheet, so you have your company details, and then there are cells that are demarcated based on color. So the cyan color shows that it's a one-time input to set up. The green color shows that it's a daily user input. For example, it could be pricing of different products. The gray cell shows that there's a formula, so the cell should not be disturbed. The orange cell shows that the data has to be copied from the previous workbook. So for example, there's a closing stock for the previous day, and the current uh, opening stock should be from the previous day's closing stock. So you just have to copy and paste. So there should not be any meddling, and if there's meddling, then your values could be wrong. And then there's a purple cell which shows that there's a formula and therefore you should not change, but it change it based on your policy. For example, like you have a credit note, and certain companies have a policy that the credit note uh, will be based on the pricing on on the same day when the credit note is raised, and certain companies might have that the pricing will be based on when the bill was raised. And then you have over here the different products and their respective HSN codes. So here you have your sales products, here you have your purchase products, and each of those products are categorized in different tax brackets. For examples, your products 1 to 4 can be in a different tax bracket, 5 to 7, 8 to 10, and so forth. Okay, so next we'll go to the next sheet, which is the billing sheet. So here you can use the sheet to raise a bill, so it will hold your daily pricing data, etc. And with this you can raise a bill, so you have your original, duplicate, and triplicate copies, and so you will have whatever that is necessary in a bill. And one of the features over here in the bill is that you will set a credit value for a particular party, and if you raise a bill above the credit value, then the bill will not be raised. So the bill number will not come. So it is to alert you. And and in uh, in the sheets, like there are several pivot tables used to pick up the data from different data sheets. So, but the pivot tables need to be refreshed, but then like you cannot refresh them on your own, for the reason that most of the cells are locked. So each of the sheet will have a refresh table. So when you press it, the pivot table will get refreshed. And then there's a store button over here. The store button, what it does is, like, once you have your bill printed out, then you can store it, which will be stored in the bill data sheet. And then this from this sheet the data will be picked up and will be given into the dispatch sheet. So here, based on a particular date and your vehicle, it will show, like, say you have raised about 30 bills today, and for a particular vehicle there's like 10 bills raised. And this table will consolidate like what needs to be loaded onto that vehicle for each of the products. So the numbers based on the products. Then over here in this sheet you have your seller GST details. So here you have to input each of your seller. So whenever there's a new seller, you have to create a row for that particular seller. So over here, say you have Sri Kumaran Oils, and they have their GST number, etc., which is hidden on purpose. And then there's a credit limit, there's a bill count limit also, wherein like if a party has more, say in this case the bill count limit is 3, and if you are raising the fourth bill, you will not be allowed to raise the bill. So these are the details over here. And in the purchase GST details, here you have the your purchaser details. So you have your party name, their respective GST codes, etc. And then you have the daily dashboard sheet, and then here comes the data entry sheet, which is the which holds the chunk of your data. So over here, each of the row represents a particular transaction. It could be a purchase or a sales, or a purchase as well as a sales. So for example, over here, on 3rd June 2024, this is the sales rates for each of the products, and being a green color cell, these can be changed. And then this is the purchase rate, at what rate the product was purchased earlier. And then you have your purchase details, for example whether you purchased anything on that particular date. So it will have also your tax details for that particular purchase bill number. And then you have a debit note. Say there's a return on the purchase, then you can enter the details for the debit note. And then over here you have your sales details. So this is the sales bill number raised and to the party, and the different products and their corresponding numbers. And then you have your tax details. So all these gray cells are all formulas, and so it cannot be changed. And then for each of the orders, you have certain attributes like the order, the delivery, the driver. So you can allot incentive based on those. And also the area is useful for categorizing data based on area. And over here you have the collection details. So for that particular bill, how the amount was collected. So over here, 3rd June the bill was raised, and on 6th June the amount has been received through bank. So over here in the description you have your check number. So you can the description is like what you can enter whatever you want, so that you can refer to in your own bank statement. And then you have all these gray cells are formula based, and they are picked up from the previous cells. And then if there is a credit note on that particular cells, you can enter the details over here. So this is what is here in the data entry. So for each of the transactions and different dates, you keep on entering. So on 10th June, so there was like 4 bills raised. So you have on 10th June there's the 4 bills which were raised. So these are the 4 bills that were raised. So every transaction, whether a purchase or a sales or a purchase and sales, is recorded in this row. And then you have the expenses sheet, wherein the date, the period, etc. are noted for each expense. So this particular row can be a cash voucher or a expense based on bank. So and also you have details wherein like whether you want it as a GST input, yes or no. So if you say yes, then your in your GSTR1 this will be shown as an input, and your tax will be reduced based on it. The next sheet is your GSTR input sheet. So it calculates your output tax and your input tax based on your details that has been entered in the data entry sheet. And so here you have your output tax uh, B2B, and the next table you have your output tax B2C. And then also the input is picked up from this sheet, wherein you have your purchase details. So you have your invoice number, you have your taxable value for each of the invoices. And then you have your incentive sheet, and you have your, so the incentive sheet will show you your incentive for each of your salesman or delivery person, etc. And the last sheet is your debtor list, wherein like the outstanding that has been shown in your daily dashboard, you have the details for it. So which are the parties that have outstanding, and which are the bill numbers that are outstanding. For example, over here in India Wholesale Supermarket, you have 2 outstanding bills. So this is useful for checking your outstanding list and seeing whether you have outdated bills and calling up um parties and informing and asking them to repay your bills. So I'll go over the other sheets in detail in my next video.